So let's say that we have seen that the industrial forces, before the economic and the financial forces, and now the technological forces are making politics, but their politics, and they are let's say that they are achieving to construct another type of society without the help or the connection with the people. So what I see, what I saw when I work on trade agreements like TTIP, like TiSA, like TTIP, is that we are in a populistic momentum to fight against the globalization. What happens was that people who work against, let's say, Bernie Sanders in the United States, here the anti-globalization groups had achieved to unify the discontent and to drop into the TTIP. The problem is that the alternatives, let's say that if we have the anti-globalization movement and then we have the monsters, let's say like Trump, Le Pen, have a plan, an alternative plan, and it's to blame from that globalization to the migrants and to the migrants and to start a national discuss. So how this is connected with technological sovereignty is that what we can learn is from that populistic moment to use that reflections that we have with trade agreements to connect it with the technological movement against Silicon Valley and those people. And the other two things that we have to learn, one is the European demos that we achieve. We never seen such demonstrations in all of Europe, including Netherlands, including Spain, again a trade agreement. That is because there is a disgust with globalization, and it's going to be a disgust with technology, and we have to learn from that lessons to apply it to a technological momentum that is going to come. And second one, the scalability of sovereignty. We've seen that when we fight against TTIP, for example, who are we blaming? European Commission, the elites, our national governments. What we achieve finally is TTIP-free zones. That is like a space of hunger, who you blame, but that's nothing. And I think that with technology we have to scale that sovereignty and to organize on cities on a local level with a global goal. I think that should be key. If not, we are going to lose the battle, I think. Technological sovereignty, first of all, is related with cities. Let's say that in the new cycle of neoliberal globalization, we have like three pillars: investment on infrastructures. Second one is the connected cities, and the third one is the trade relationship. So imagine that a trade agreement that makes very difficult for the cities to let in the cities the data will affect, for example, the liberalization of telecommunications. Another example, the liberalization of the data, the cross-border data. Another example, the pursuit of the e-commerce. So that generates a huge amount of data that is not going to be stored locally. The main principle of TiSA is that the data generated locally can be moved to other parts. For example, to the data offshore places. Google, Facebook have centers of data in Ireland. TiSA, one of the countries that is in the negotiation is Panama. So if we mix that with the other point of TiSA, that is that the service providers have to be treated equally at the local providers. I mean, this has a lot of risk. For example, Barcelona cannot offer a different service cannot offer a favorable treatment to a local company. So what are you going to do if you have to compete with international companies such as Google, Facebook, that are using the data to offer another kind of public services? So that's going to be a threat not only for the local sovereignty, but for the maintain of the public services, education, health, etc. I'm going to make a distinction between sovereignty here and the capacity of Europe to have a voice on the global order, or the geopolitical situation. The main problem of TTIP is that you are using the trade agreements to find a space on the geopolitical situation, on the decline of the West, of the liberal democracy of United States. And what we are seeing is that United States and Europe make an agreement trying to place China in a second position. In this situation, the only thing that Europe can make to preserve their role in the global order is to just say, to give America its power to decide its own future and to let it in the huge companies of America, okay, in order to fight against China, India, Brazil, that breaks. And this has a lot of problems because you cannot decide your future. The future is going to be decided by the anarchy of the geopolitical plans of the big business of America, and previously the financial industry, Wall Street, and now Silicon Valley. For example, Google calls this the 21st century trade agenda. And it's like a new imperialism, that what you are seeing is a new feudalism. I mean, you are letting feudal landowners, let's say like that, digital landowners, to fight against the state capitalism of China. This in TTIP is very clear, but let's say that TTIP is like the 30% of the services of the world. TiSA is the 68% of the services of the world. So if we compare that geopolitical situation with the magnitude of the data flows that we are seeing on TiSA, it's like all the future, all the scenarios of the future, let's say in services in digital trade, are going to be dictated by the countries that are on that agreement, and the main winner is the United States. And then the last data that I can give is that the smart cities are going to be key, because the 90% of the new trade relation is going to take part in Asia and in Africa, okay? And neither Asian countries or African countries are in the TiSA. So we are seeing like United States, European Union making an agreement on services, on data that is going to happen on the smart cities, without countries that are going to be affected of that rules. Because if you later take the TiSA scale and you apply it to the WTO, those American countries, those African countries, those Asian countries are going to be affected by the rules that the digital or the internet companies of USA mainly have dictated. And that's why it's a kind of imperialism or a neo-feudalism to fight against a capitalism of a state that it's like an absolute monarchy or something like that.